we're not able to do it unless someone else pulls it out of us. And that's where I say artificial intelligence could be our greatest collaboration partner.
All right, you all, welcome back for another episode of The Necessary Entrepreneur. I know today's guest is going to say this isn't going to be another episode; it's going to be the episode. And what I just shared with them was, hey, Thursdays are our day to do a lot of episodes, and you are bookending the end of our day. So since Dave Asarnow is so confident, we're just going to be quiet. This will be the first time I don't answer questions, and this is like contemporary art. I sit back and we imagine. Hold on. It'll be a little bit different than that. But today's guest is Dave Asarnow. He's a serial entrepreneur, investor, and AI leadership consultant. Here we go, the hot topic. Dave's built multiple 8-figure companies and helped leaders generate over $745 million. I don't know why we don't use $1 billion, but maybe we'll talk about that. He works with business owners to create clarity, confidence, and sustainable growth using proven strategies amplified by AI. Today, we'll dig into the systems, the frameworks, and decisions that drive real business growth and how founders can scale smarter, not just harder. Dave, welcome to The Necessary Entrepreneur, man.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're laughing. What are we laughing about today? We're bookending. What are we laughing about?
We're laughing because you and I literally have been just going off, and I just said, we should have this online. Let's start recording and the conversation will continue.
Oh, so what's the conversation we want to continue? We were talking about, I was like, I have a mentalist on today, but maybe we can get into it. We were talking about awareness at a deeper level than most people comprehend or they're intentional about. But I said, hey, what happened to your life? You were partnered with a couple guys. I'll let you drop the names if you want to, in a speaking gig about 15 years ago. And I said, from being around them, I'm not as interested in the two people. You could name them. But what happened for you and your wife from doing that? And then you were starting to...
And I'll say it. And by the way, I would say that nothing came because of the association with them. It was the opportunity and how I used that opportunity.
That's the question. What happened because of it?
So here's an interesting thing. I became a top speaker for Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes, and Business Breakthroughs is the business development, not the rah-rah pound your chest side of things. What happened is I came into the company and I learned their pitch, so to speak, the training that we did, the workshop. And one of the things that I did differently, well, first of all, within 60 days, I increased the close rate by over 34%. And people were like, what are you doing differently? And it was, we talked about it earlier. My grandfather always told me when I was a kid, Dave, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You got to listen to what people say before you respond. So listening to hear and understand, for most people, listen to respond. Conversation we had a little bit earlier. And so I would ask a lot of questions. In sales, in business growth, in anything, you've got to listen and hear what's going on with people, their pains, their challenges, their problems, what are their dreams, goals, desires. And then, and only then, can you move it to the next level. So what happened? Yeah, I was speaking 3 to 5 times a week. So how did my life change in about 1.5 to 2.5 years? I can't remember exactly when I started and when I know I left when after Chet passed away. What happened is sharpening the saw. Literally, when you're running a 2 to 3.5 hour workshop for entrepreneurs, helping them build, grow, and scale, you see commonalities of problems. You see ways that you can connect the dots and show them blind spots and opportunities for success. What happened out of that is I launched out Business Nitrogen. In fact, the former president of coaching after Chet passed away said to me, Dave, when you going to go off on your own? It's time. And so I did. I listened to her.
What do you take from that now, 15 or 12 years later after that moment, that you had a catalyst moment with one individual who asked you that question?
Well, it happened because 30 days earlier, I told her what I was working on with Business Nitrogen. I saw her 30 days later. She said, why haven't you launched? She's like, She said this to me. She said, perfect is the enemy of done. Dave,
Mm.
it's time. I love you. I want you to be successful. You've got bigger things to do. And I said, okay, thank you. And I did.
That's still relevant today. In 2026, that statement is right, is extremely relevant, because what I'm finding is, I'm like, is it this simple as looking at something, deciding that's what you want, and taking action? It
Yes,
feels
it
really
is.
simple to me.
It is that simple. And for some reason, I was actually just speaking this morning and I asked the group, I said, how many of you have that little voice inside your head that you know that you want something? It's something that you're passionate about, something that you really want to do. In fact, you start taking action on it and then you let it go by the wayside. You say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. And then all of a sudden tomorrow never comes. And then you're looking for that next shiny object. And everyone laughed or started nodding their heads. And so many times we give up on ourselves. We'll hold ourselves accountable if we tell someone else will do something. But when it comes to us as humans, unfortunately, so many people and most people will let ourselves down. And that's where we've got to create that accountability. But what you just said, yes, if you want to do something, you just do it. In fact, I'm launching something out now. I started 5 weeks ago. I'd actually built more in 5 weeks while still doing everything that I'm doing. 5 complete programs, all the videos, the content, the course, and everything. And we're launching actually tomorrow. And I said to myself, wow, and on top of everything that I'm doing, I've done more in 5 weeks than I've ever seen a client do in the past 15 years. You want to get something done, give it to a busy person. They'll figure out how to make it done.
Why is that?
Well, I would say not just a busy person that's productive. So there's a call. A lot of people are busy. Why? Because we have a sense of urgency. You create priorities. What is important? Why is it important? And for me, it's been a passion project, and I've always wanted to launch. And I had some time between Christmas and New Year's, and I came up with an idea and figured it out and put time into it.
You know, that's only 6 days, right?
I know. Well, I did it through it was through the first week of January. I was putting all this stuff. I literally consumed from morning to late at night, weekends. By the way, if you want something bad enough, why do you want it? And then just make it happen. You got to figure out how.
Does this mean anything to you, that when you decide you want something and you find yourself in the midst of it, I mean, all the bad and everything goes together, Dave just finds a way?
You have to find a way. You've got to, I mean, it's too easy to quit. It's too easy to give up. It's too easy to find all the reasons why something cannot happen. There's plenty of reasons. There's always stuff going on.
Yep.
Things always happen. You've got to figure out how.
So what the hell's going on with AI now? I mean, I'm getting ready to put on, I have never been this guy that's put on the events. And I've realized with all the so-called successful businesses I've built, it was like, man, if I don't establish this personal brand, it's going to stay real small and we're not going to grow this thing and tell the world about it and impact lives and make money. Because I'm all about making some damn money. Because I know when I'm making money, somebody else is making some money too, because we're doing it together. But I'm going to hold an event in April, and I tacked on top of it. I was in New York City hanging out with some really cool folks having dinner. That you've been in way more of those rooms than I have, but I'm starting to be in more. And it's a girl who is leaving Salesforce. She's been very impactful in the company. She rose to the top. She's working with the right and left-hand people of the company, but she's going out and starting an AI venture with someone else.
Sure.
It's not just the things we're talking about. It's here. And I guess we're all just figuring out, how's it going to play in society? What's it going to impact? I'm just like, screw all that. Just use it and take action on the thing. So what are you using AI for? What are you doing with it?
I'm using AI for a lot of things right now. As far as I'm doing a lot of speaking at entrepreneur events and companies, teaching them how to actually use it to create leverage and profits. So many people are scared to use it, but the fact of the matter is, and I tell right up front, if you don't use it, you're going to be replaced by someone who's willing to. So what does it do? It creates leverage. You can get 5 to 10 times leverage as an employee in a company, as an entrepreneur. You're going to be able to figure out how to automate certain tasks, but it's not going to replace humaning, talking to each other. Today, more than ever, because of AI, I heard one of your recent guests, it's so true. People want to talk to people. So what AI can do is it can create leverage. It can make you better. For instance, before every client meeting, I will put up the previous transcriptions and I'll ask questions. What are the takeaways? What are the problems? I will be informed before I have a conversation. I will know everything and what my team was supposed to do. So what does AI do? It actually, and that happens in minutes. So it creates leverage, it creates speed. And what you need to do is, yeah, it could do a lot of things, but there's so many apps, there's so many things coming out. And will it automate jobs? Yeah, it's going to replace some jobs. It's going to replace a lot of jobs. However, the people who are going to be the most valuable to companies today are the ones that learn how to harness artificial intelligence, and it's just not one tool. There's a lot of them out. The main ones, you've got Google Gemini, you've got ChatGPT, et cetera. If you learn how to just utilize those, that's what you need to focus on, because all these other gadgets and apps, they're going to be in and out so fast because the big ones have all the money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not focused on, like, I know me running my businesses of a few hundred people working in them. I'm not trying. See, this is what everybody needs to be honest about. I'm not trying to replace them. I'm not. I have no interest in replacing them. What I do want to do is make us more efficient, make us more capable. I want us to 3 and 5 and 10x what we're doing for outputs. I think what it's going to do, it's going to affect the volume of hiring going forward. I think we're going to exponentially grow with the people that we have that are willing to use it. The ones who aren't willing to use it, they're just not going to find themselves here. Somebody else will be in the seat who does.
The same conversation I had 3.5 years ago with my team. Here's what people need. They need to know how to become a prompt boss. Plain and simple. The AI will give you average. And if you think about it, we have 140 plus IQ that could be, and which is near Mensa smart, that we have as our collaborator. So if you're on a team and you want to have someone challenge you, help you think about something differently. How can you approach this client? If you know how to have that conversation in an intelligent way, you get 140 plus IQ answer that helps you become better in your business.
So you said have it in an intelligent way. I do think people are going to have to learn how to prompt it properly, right?
And that's when I'm going out to companies and teaching, that I start at the basics. Everything starts with foundation. You want to build a big building, you've got to have a strong foundation. If you become knowledgeable in how to prompt it at a 101 level, you will be 90% ahead of most people out there, because it is so intelligent, but you've got to give it construct. You've got to tell it what you want, why you want it, how you want it to think, how you want to operate, and how you want the output to come. And then we'll actually give it to you. It's actually pretty cool.
So we get to interact with it the way that we want to interact with humans, but no human wants to interact with us this way.
And just think about it. You've got something that has pretty much perfect recall. You can create custom projects. You can create custom GPTs or gems in Google, etc. You can give it all the information about whatever it is you want it to know, and you can play with it and help you become better as a human.
You know what I started doing in the beginning?
Iron sharpen iron. I have so much fun because I can create more, faster, better because of artificial intelligence.
Yep. So good. You know, I used to get worried inside ChatGPT when I first started using it. I would get worried, like it would come up with amazing things. And I'm like, wow, we're having a great conversation. That's what I'm looking for. But you know, it's like, do you want more? Should I angle it this way? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But wait a minute. I don't want to forget what that is. You know, our human brains, we have a thought, and if we don't write it down, but it's building its brain for us. It's not forgetting any of this. It's
as long as you do it in the same conversation. But And here's an interesting thing. When you think about it, yeah, it has an amazing intelligence. It has an amazing brain. And the problem is when most people use it, they say, write me this email or write this marketing piece. It's going to give average unless you tell it the frameworks, unless you tell it that you need is a client problem aware, they solution aware. If you don't tell it who it's communicating to, that everything that it puts out, because it has perfect grammar, it sounds really good. But the problem so many people have is it doesn't work and they don't know why it doesn't work. And that's where understanding the foundations and communication and who it's communicating with, and then letting it get you more opportunities to speak with people.
All right. So you said you're using this now in
So
clients
I'm
and people that you serve and then their companies, right? You started doing it in your company 3.5 years ago. Now you're going out here and teaching other people. So
we're we're doing
what
it so many ways, man. So many ways.
we don't have, yeah, we could talk for 10 hours about the
Well,
ways
I'll
you're
give
doing
you
it.
an example. So we have automation patient booking systems for natural healthcare doctors. It is literally, we've got the funnel, the quiz, they go to book appointment. If they don't book the appointment, the AI agent starts having a conversation with them. What we send is actually open-ended questions to try to get the person to actually chat. It can talk to them. It can have a real world conversation. And the funny thing is, even though it says it's artificial intelligence and we listen to the recordings, people aren't even saying, "Are you AI?" It's just having a conversation with it as if it's human. By the way, I just said something that I think is important. I do not believe in trying to fool people and saying artificial intelligence is real. Always open the conversation if it's a voice agent saying, "Hi, I'm an AI agent for XYZ company. Give me an opportunity to serve you. If I can't help you at any time, let me know and I'm happy to transfer you to a live agent." I believe in transparency and honesty and not trying to fool people.
Yeah, and if it's valuable enough, though, we won't want to be transferred. I know the only time when call an airline or something to try to get something changed. But if I call an airline to get a change, what I know is how long is it going to take me to get to being able to hit a button that gets me to talk to a live person? And I am looking for that. But if they would solve my problem, I wouldn't be looking for that.
They have antiquated they have more of a remote tree type system. They're
It's
not
terrible.
using true artificial intelligence.
It's a
Um,
disaster.
yeah, I agree with you. I hit 00000 until I can get to someone.
And the system fights me every time. That was not an option. That is not a prompt. Oh, don't make me dial this back over. So, what do you think? You building your business, talk about it, not just this question of what do you think AI is going to become? Is it going to affect society? Screw that. We're all asking that a million times a week. What do you think it's going to become for your business? So I know that you probably have, I don't know if you're a 3, a 5, a 10-year goal guy, but you have optics and metrics that you're trying to achieve inside your company. So there's revenue goals, there's whatever it is. We're all working towards something.
Mhm.
What's going to happen inside your company with you, not just you teaching AI, with you utilizing AI and implementing it into all the systems that you have? Because you're very deep in what you just explained. You're building GPT, you're building stuff significant.
We're building agents. We're looking at how AI. What I'm looking at right now is all of the tasks, the projects, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. I'm looking at custom proprietary agents that can do most of it. Now, I'm not looking at doing it autonomously by itself. I'm looking at humans, someone on my team can interact with it because I want that human collaboration. Because as I said, I don't want it to write content. I don't want it to auto post without anything being read. I don't believe we're at that point. Where do I think this is going to go? I think that we will be able, what I'm looking at doing is totally different. So if you look at, I have two companies, businessnitrogen.com, which is, our business growth strategy company. I have Business Nitrogen AI, and I'm focused a lot right now on Business Nitrogen AI and developing systems and solutions, not only for us, but the funny thing is everything that I create for myself, I talk to about a client, they're like, "Can I have that?" I'm like, "Sure, you can have that." So it's like, I'm building things for me that create freedom and leverage. What I told you I was able to do in the last 5 weeks is only because I leveraged artificial intelligence as my thinking partner. Because if I had to sit there and just create on my own, I don't believe that I would have been able to do that. However, because I can literally have that conversation you just mentioned, yes, I can go down rabbit trails. I go down rabbit trails all the time. I can get lost and by the way, you can get lost in the world of AI, which is one of the dangerous things with it. However, if you go with intentionality, and I do it in 40-minute sprints. So I literally usually put on some kind of music that has a dinger at 40 minutes, and I will go into a 40-minute sprint. Let me see how much I can create and work on in that 40 minutes. And then as soon as it's done, I get up, I walk away, and I'll come back whenever I've got the time blocked out for it next time. So what am I doing? I'm creating a lot of cool shit that a lot of companies are going to, I believe, are going to want. And because of that, I believe 5 to 10 years from now, I will still be involved in artificial intelligence. I'm going to have written some books, and people are going to be using some tools I've created, and it's going to really impact their lives and their businesses.
Is this going to be from a SaaS perspective, or are you going to sell this proprietary stuff for specific companies?
I don't know yet. I'm building things for clients. Here's the interesting thing. I'll collaborate with a client and we'll come up with an idea that will create leverage for them. And then I'll have a client. This just happened 2 weeks ago. They said, if you can do this, I can sell it to every company in my industry. No one's been able to solve this. And I've got a PhD engineer who heads up the AI dev team. And he said, oh, yeah, I can do this. And we're baiting, had the beta on Monday. And so I'm doing a lot of collaboration. So someone comes up with an idea and they're like, hey, if you can actually help create this and it works for us, let's just share the profits selling it going forward. I'm like, okay, cool.
Do you see a danger in all these things we're building on who really owns the thing?
Well, you've got to be clear with that up front. That's why you have the conversations you put in writing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything. Well, the other thing you have to be really careful with in using artificial intelligence is making sure you're not using someone else's IP, because that can be very dangerous.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that I see that is going to start to have massive conflict. Like right now we're in a world of patents. How is that idea of a patent going to apply to millions and billions of people creating the same thing at the same time?
Well, there's a reason why Elon Musk never patented some of the things that he does, because once you patent it, you give someone the blueprint on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then they can just make tweaks here or there. So just something to consider. But yes, there's so many things that are going to change because of artificial intelligence. But here's the thing, we can easily get lost in it. The basic first step is figure out, how can I use it in my business more effectively in order to build, grow, and scale, to get my team more productive, to let the people know that I'm not looking to replace you, as you said. I'm looking to help make you more productive, to make you better, so we can be more, that we can do more, that we can serve more people. And because of that, our profits are going to increase.
So just do, and don't worry about the protectionism of the damn thing.
Listen, I was just reading something the other day that every LED TV or LCD TV in our house, that the government could actually tap in and listen to us in our own homes. So I'm not as worried about, yes, do I do secure passwords? Do I change passwords for everything? Yes, I do. You can do everything that you can do to protect yourself, but that's slow. Yeah. Just launch. How do you get things done? You figure out what you want and then put a stopwatch down. Mine's 40 minutes, but you will be so impressed at what you can accomplish in 40 minutes. It's 40 minute sprint.
All right. So this past 15 years of your life, what is it? I'm going to ask you a question. What do you fundamentally know now about business and entrepreneur? Because your clients, you help them solve problems, or they give you a problem. But what do you fundamentally know right now about business in 2026? What do you know?
What do I know? Everything's solvable. And so many people get really concerned about what's going on, whether it's the economy, the world, etc. And we can only control what we can control. And as long as you're doing the best that you can do, and you focus your team on doing the best that they can do, you'll get through it. I've been in places where I've been at the lowest of lows, and I've been at the highest of highs. It really is an entrepreneurial roller coaster. It is.
Isn't what you just said? It was the same thing 15 years ago.
It's the same thing. It's nothing changes. Yep. Nothing changes. People are people. We're not for me, people say, well, AI, I just want to work less. My brother asked me this a couple of weeks ago. He's like, when do you want to retire? I said, what do you mean retire? And he said, when do you want to retire? And I said, I don't think I'll ever retire. He's like, why? I said, because I actually have fun doing what I'm doing, so it doesn't feel like work to me. And so the best thing I could say in today's day and time is figure out what you love doing and just do more of it.
It's funny. I just had a conversation earlier It was actually with a guy who's an artist, but he makes a lot of money selling his paintings, and he's written the book on how to make a profit selling your. And I agreed that there's this statement that very elite folks that have become billionaires, many of them have said, find a thing you love doing and you won't feel like you have to work a day in your life. I call bullshit on that, because here's what, let's have a debate on it. This is good.
We'll have a debate.
Well, here's the thing, because I know I wake up every day and I'm really inspired. I love doing a lot of things I'm doing, but there's a lot of work. I still know that there are things that are going to show up in my day that I don't have solved yet, that I previously haven't developed mastery at, that if I'm growing and scaling, there's going to be new problems I've never faced. And there are really stressful moments in those sometimes. And that is what people, so what to me is, that does feel like work. And the reason, even if it doesn't feel like it to me, that's what people are talking about. They think they're not going to have to deal with that stuff.
Oh, no, you're going to have to deal with all that stuff. That's not going away. But here's the thing. When you're doing something that you're excited about, while you're doing that stuff, there's shit you have to deal with anyway, right?
There you go.
That's life. That's life. But if you enjoy 20%, 30% of what you're doing, when you're doing this, you forget about it's like you forget about all that other stuff. But that's just business. That's just life. Life is not meant, I don't think life was meant to be easy. If everything came easy, would you be appreciative of it? Would you be grateful? No. So it's because you have to make things happen, because you work hard. The gratitude and gratification on the other side feels so much better.
But aren't you the guy? I'd make an argument. I love this. It's like, man, I want to battle. I want to battle with Dave for 20 minutes on this. But aren't you the guy that showed up doing a bunch of other things in the past too, with passion and charisma?
I'm pretty much passionate about whatever I choose to do.
That's what I'm talking about, right? And so I think if I drop you in something maybe that you don't love, you're going to take the same approach. And what I found is the approach that you're probably going to take is most likely going to make it successful in some metric.
Well, can I tell you something that I learned early on? And because I'm getting, when you said that, I got a flash to when I was younger. And I'll give you an example. Do we always love everyone that we're working with, or at least clients, or they may give us a hard time?
Is that a question? Because no.
Of course, right? So my grandfather told me this, because I had a very challenging client once. When I was younger, I was in my 20s, and he was giving me a hard time. And my grandfather said, what do you like? When you look at this person, what do you like about them? And when I said nothing, he's like, no, seriously, are they a good father? Are they a good parent? Are they a good teammate? What do they do really well that you can respect? And he said, because when you meet with someone, if you can find that spark of humanity of what you like about them, you can tune out the things that you don't like, and it makes it much easier to have that conversation. And that client ended up growing from $250,000 to $2 million in the next year, because I took that advice from my grandfather. And so, things are challenging. Things are hard. In NLP, and I've invested in a lot of trainings and certifications over the years. One of them was getting Master Strat certified in NLP. In NLP, what happens, if you think about in business, life, everything, we have these ups and we have these downs. So many times it's like a roller coaster. When you start going down on the roller coaster, where are you looking? You're looking down.
Yeah.
So as soon as you realize that, you have to create your next up. Where do I want to go? And get excited about that. So as you're going down, you pull your head up, and as it's still going down, but you're looking at where you're going. And what it does is it helps short circuit that depth, because life is, think about relationships. People who are married have been married for 31 years, and when people are down in their lowest, they so many times give up. But if you look at what do I like about this person? What do I love about this person? What am I grateful for? And then you start saying, well, let me create that. And how do I create that back? And all of a sudden, boom, you turn things around really quickly.
So the metaphor or the moral of the story is,
look up. Look up where you want to go. and focus in on that, and you'll create that. It's like whatever you focus on expands. I mean, Tony Robbins says it and came from a lot of other people too.
The Secret and all this book. I mean, that's really the thing about the thing you think about is the thing you're going to achieve, right? I mean, we've seen it play out in our lives. So what is the importance? I'm thinking so often you're getting clients that are coming to you with problems, and they're doing what we don't want any of our employees or people we don't want them bringing problems. What do we want them bringing? Solutions.
Yeah.
There's something happening in their brain. They just can't solve it. So do you have an expertise of simplifying strategy to accelerate or accomplish what they want?
Well, a couple things. Yes. And I was at a seminar workshop where there was they had a competition where you bring an idea and present it to the entire group. And I remember it was this gentleman brought his operations person, and she was like in her early 20s, and she got up on stage and she won the $1,000 poker chip. Everyone selected her, and she called it the 131 system. And I heard someone else said Dan Martell launched it out, I've launched it out on my companies. I've had clients launch it out. And if you've got a problem, great, write the problem. What are 3 potential solutions that you think could solve the problem, and why do you think that? And then what is the best out of those 3? And what happens is when you do that and people start thinking it through themselves, they're more than likely not even going to bring it to you because they solve their own problems. Now, if you don't well, I don't know what the solutions could be. This is where artificial intelligence, hey, I'm doing the 131 framework, and you say exactly what it is. I need you to act as a master strategist, business strategist, or on this topic with 10,000 hours of experience. I think I need 3 solutions to this problem. I think it could be this, this, and this. Ask me 3 questions, one at a time, to help uncover and pull out of me the information you need to help me come up with 3 solutions. So this is where you can actually use, and by the way, I'm talking about how to use artificial intelligence. You see the specificity in that. You're asking it for help. You're asking it to interview you, because so many times we have the answers in us. We're not able to do it unless someone else pulls it out of us. And that's where I say artificial intelligence could be our greatest collaboration partner.
What does Dave want?
What do I want?
What do you want?
In what regards?
Well, we could watch the movie like The Notebook, right? And she's trying to decide which dude she gonna be with. And he's standing out front and he's remodeled the whole house. And and he's like, what do you want? And he's just trying to get her to decide. So what do you want?
Well, I just did something that I've wanted to do. My son, about 9 months ago, asked me to go do a father-son trip. He's 25 years old. He said he was going to go hike or going around Asia. And he said, Dad, would you like to meet me and we'll go do a thing together? The thing we did, it was hiking, trekking in the Himalayas. And so what do I want? I want more of that. To me, that was like one of the best experiences that I've had in my adult life. Not only being in the Himalayas on a father-son private trekking tour, but the having more of those conversations, having the time with my kids, and re-engineering what I'm doing and how I'm doing it to be able to buy back my time, to quote Dan Martell, so that way I can, if I want to go off for 3 weeks, I can go off for 3 weeks. If I have a speaking engagement or I can plan my business around doing more things. At this point in my life, I'm 57 years old. I realized how much I enjoyed getting away and just doing fun things like that and doing it with my family.
Can you use 131 for that?
I could, I guess. And by the way, I sort of have the idea that I came up with and the thing that I'm launching right now is one of those things, because it doesn't need me. I've created it. I've launched it. I can create some ads. I can do those from Manaslu or Everest Base Camp if I wanted to. You know what I mean?
What do you go back knowing what you know now? Because this question isn't for reflection and regret or any of that. It's to help the folks that go back 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A 37-year-old Dave. What do you tell that guy? And I really want you to think about what you would tell him, and then we can frame it on what do we think, how can that help everyone else at 37 as well? What do you tell that guy?
No hesitation, no fear. the worst thing that can happen, it's not 6 months later, you'll forget about it. It will be a learning lesson.
So then is that the same thing for the 37-year-olds now?
I would say right now, so many people are scared to take action. They're scared to take that leap of faith in themselves. They're scared of what people, if I do this, it could affect me here. Or if I do this, I take risks in your job. I've tell people this all the time. If you take risk for the betterment of the company, you won't get fired. You'll get appreciated because they know that you're treating the business like their own. I had this conversation with one of the things with my son. We were in the Himalayas. Was, Josh, you're 25 years old. What do you want to do? Just do it. And he's thinking about getting a job and a career. And I'm like, things are going to change in the next 10 years. What do you want to do? And but the thing is, you could create whatever you want. You have no responsibilities at that young age. Now, I did it in my 30s. I had my kids and my wife and my family. So how do I take that to today? I know what to do now, and I'm just doing it.
What? So do you think now, you say you know what to do and you're just doing it? Do you think you're outside of the bubble enough in these moments that you really can? And I'm going to frame this 30 seconds, and there's a reason why I'm asking this.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself I was in Tampa a couple weeks ago, and Avis Rental Car has this new thing where you book it in the app, you have this preferred priority number, they'll meet you at almost the gate, and they walk into your car, right? So maybe Hertz has had it, but Avis has it. So this young kid meets me, he's got my name on the sign, and I'm not that guy, but whatever. It's the service. So we're walking to the car, but we had to go stop at baggage because the people that I was with, unfortunately, they checked some bags.
Sure.
Okay. So we're standing there, and I do what I do, probably what Dave does, and I start asking him about him. And he ends up being a 19-year-old kid. His mom was from Senegal. His dad was from here. And I said, what do you do, man? At 19, I said, you're 19. What got you into this job you're doing? And I said, what do you love? And he said, I love playing football. And I was like, I know that means soccer these days. And I said, oh, you were pretty good, huh? And he pulls out his phone. He shows me some games. And I said, why are you at 19 meeting me at the gate, taking to my car when you have the ability to do that? And he started telling the story. And about 5 minutes later, he said, I had an offer to go to Spain to play some minor league football. And everything inside of me wants to jump out immediately and yell at him. But I keep asking, I keep listening, because I'm like, why is he not going? And when things got hard and he would hit the bench and wouldn't get much playing time, he found himself quitting all the time. And so, but I found out that his mom's wanting him to go. And so I asked him, I said, why wouldn't you go? And he brought it back to this job. And so I got to this moment, I'm like, I have to tell this kid this, because I'm not in his nucleus. I'm not trying to get him to do what I want. I looked at him and I said, man, if you don't go to Spain, you're crazy. And I said, I think you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. I said, you're talking about a job. You can go there, and whatever the outcome is, at least you're going to go and fulfill it and try and give everything. You can always come back to this job. And to me, it seemed like that advice was to you. It's like, of course, that's the advice to give him. Why do you think you're now in the moment where you can give yourself this advice? Because so often we don't and we can't, and something's going wrong. And it's so simple for everybody else about what we should do.
Well, it's easier for other people, and it's all in how people say it. So many times we reject it. And I led a workshop and a few years back, and I gave this prompt to people, and then I had them videotape it. So you'll hear. So instead of saying you will regret it, I said, I want you to imagine right now you're 94 years old, and your great grandchild comes up to you and sits on your lap and says, Grandma, Grandpa, you did a lot of amazing things. What are 1, 2, or 3 things that you wish you accomplished in your life that you didn't? And why? And then I want you to videotape yourself telling your great-grandchild that story. Because guess what? Right now, and then when we came back, people were crying because it's like life of regret. I said, but here's the thing. You're 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. Everything that you just told yourself that you regretted, you didn't take action on, you can actually take action on today. And so I actually have used that a few times with people, like in that situation with that kid. I do that all the time. My wife's like, you'll talk to anyone. She will. Like, I'll be anywhere and I'll just start talking to people and asking them questions about them. I'm curious. When I was a kid, my favorite book was Curious George, and sort of like I wrote a book I haven't published yet, but the character is Charlie George after Curious George, CJ, and but it's if you have that curiosity. I like to have people who put people in that kind of situation where now they're telling themselves, "Oh my gosh, I should do this," and that's how I do it.
Maybe you'll pat me on the back, because I kind of did that.
Awesome.
But I told him, I said, hey man, I'm going to tell you a story about a friend I have now who I'm going to see while I'm here in Florida. And I said, he made a Premier League team in England at 17. And he didn't start. He quit. And he went I said, he quit a Premier League. He's like, man, that's crazy. And I said, think about if you're doing the same type of thing.
Boom.
That's it. I said, man, he's a good friend of mine. And I said, he still avoids having the conversation with me to this day, but he's unlocking a little bit more. And I said, man, I know there's not many days of his life that he doesn't go by that it's not what could it have been. It's not that he tried and it didn't work. It's what could he have been. And I said, man, you just got to make sure that you don't have that same thing for your life.
And part of that, by the way, is why I'm launching the things that I'm launching. I'm like, seriously, I had one of those moments going through this on my own. Is I've helped clients generate over $750 million.
Yep.
Why not the billion? Because I can't calculate the billion yet. When I can, I'll use the billion. But why have I not launched things out for myself? And so I said, well, that ends today. And that was the decision I made. And I've created, instead of just one product, I created 5 products, because I know to be profitable, I have to have, upsells and, cross sells, down sells. And because this is what I do for other people. So I just did it for myself.
Who's your ideal customer client right now that you can have the biggest impact for?
The clients that I can have the greatest impact for are I work best with entrepreneurs. Because I am one, I understand the pain, challenge, problems we have, that are looking at how can I integrate AI in my company? How can I be an AI empowered or assisted? Because I don't think that we still have to create a lot of things ourselves and humans, but how do we do that? That's why I love serving and supporting. In fact, the product I've launched is to help them have better communication with their client. It's called Objection Proof Sales. And listening in when people say, I got to think about it, or I'll get back to you. It's what was said earlier in that conversation that gave them permission not to move forward. And it's to point out the blind spots that we have.
What's the best place? Because I know we're 5:01. I think we have a little extra time. I think
we're
right.
Good. We're good.
However, what's the best place for? Because so many people. I don't have many frustrations anymore. Because what I used to get frustrated about. I'm just like, well, let's just solve the problem. Let's not be frustrated. Have no expectations of other human beings. Look at them and tell them what needs to happen. If they want to do it, great. If not, I'm going to move on and do some other stuff. So you're going to get a lot of people that come and they want to. There seems to be this very divergent thought between the ones who want to and the ones who are going to. How do you cut through that on all the people that now are going to reach out to you from the brand that you have and what you're doing, on the ones who just want to versus the ones who are going to?
It's funny you said that. I just created a new qualification questionnaire on the front end that, I work best with people who know what they want, are willing to make a decision on what they want. And if that's not you, we're probably not a good fit to work together. Just say it right up front. Let people self-disqualify themselves.
Yep. And oh man, that doesn't sound like me. What do you love about, what do you think because right now you're in the midst of, what do you think you're going to love about this venture and what you're doing? Because now it's Nitrogen AI, right? I mean, that's what this is.
This is Nitrogen AI. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think you're going to love the most about it? As you get into it and you're operating and running, what do you think you're going to love the most? Because you're pumped about it.
What I am excited about when I'm playing in it is I'm playing. I don't feel like I'm working. I'm actually playing. My clients are like, because I'm actually where before we would do things, I'm actually using AI empowered conversations with my clients, and I'm letting them see how I'm using it to help them in their businesses. And they're just like, I don't know how you do. I'm showing you everything, right? But what they're seeing is we can create more together. And I'm not trying to hide behind the curtain saying I'm using it. I'm just here's how we're doing it. Here's how I'm making you better. And I want you to eventually be able to use this without me. This is great. So what am I excited about? I'm playing, I'm having fun, and I'm seeing people's brains open up to new possibilities, and they're getting results. I mean, we're talking about clients getting massive results. And the conversation used to be, hey, how do we, double our business in the next 3 to 5 years? And I'm saying, how do we 10x, 100x our businesses? Let's look at all the ways we can create leverage. And then who do we need on our team, and what leverage do we need to create? So these are the conversations we're having. We're having fun doing it.
No, that's smiling. That's great, man. What's the place? I have one or two questions I want to ask right when we jump off of here, right? You just never know the thing. And maybe I'll use some context in the introduction, but what's the best place for somebody to come and self audit themselves on if they should do this and reach out and partner and realize like Dave's my guy to really help at 10x, 100x? Where should they come to figure that out and find that out?
businessnitrogen.ai, businessnitrogen.com. I've got, the same qualification, same process. And if they want to see what I'm speaking on personally, davidasarnow.com.
Okay, so that's good. Here's the final question on the podcast. Back when you started speaking, and speaking was helping sell systems and products for a couple guys, you increased their close rate by 30-something% over the entire organization just from you within a few months, I think.
Yes.
Why and how? What was going on and happening that if they were as good as they were, identifying talent, hiring people, why was it different with you?
I know exactly why. Because most people memorize the script. Most people memorize. I almost knocked over my tea. Most people memorize the script and delivered the script. I internalized the script and I made it my own. I didn't just give their case studies and examples because I realized this. People buy from people. I was just the representative. So where most people would say, hey, can I tell you about Tony? Can I tell you about Chet? I would say this. I said, any of you curious who I am, why I'm here, and why I'm even qualified to listen to me teaching you this information? And people would laugh and say, yes. I said, well, let me tell you what I've done over the past 10 years. I built one 8-figure company from 0 to 45 million. I started another. In fact, I bought out a private equity company, rebranded, launched, and grew that to 8 figures in the last 5 years. And I wanted to learn. I wanted to be a speaker, and just so happens that I got an opportunity to be on one of the biggest stages the first time. And so I can tell you the information that I'm going to teach you today, I've used to scale multiple 8-figure businesses. We're going to come up with some really good things. And some of you are going to want to take it forward and figure out how you can implement this at the end. For those of you who do, I'm not going to disappoint you. Until then, I'm going to serve you 110%. So what did I do? I told them about me. I connected with them, and then I served them. But one of the other things, I didn't just use their case studies. So when we would do something, I say, you want to hear how I use this over the past couple of years? And I would tell real stories. So why did I do it? I didn't just do I listened to them. I'd ask, what are you dealing with? Every talk, what brings you here today? What are you looking to get out of it? I made sure that I was able to solve the people's problems and connect the dots to the outcome that they wanted. So that's why I did it. I was good at listening and tying everything together.
All right. People can see what they're going to get when they come get them some nitrogen if they haven't heard about it before. Thanks for giving us this time today, man. It's the first time that we've met. I just knew right from the beginning. I was like, what energy and what charisma. So I think that any time that people are going to spend with you, whether it's 45 minutes, an hour listening to a podcast, whether it is engaging with you and having them be one of your clients, just spend time around people like Dave and your wife is going to get better. And I don't think you should just spend time around one. If you start to surround yourself with people that are passionate, with charisma, that have receipts on things they've done in the past, I don't necessarily believe you got to buy their thing. Just spend time around them, and you're going to start having some of the same outcomes. So thanks for coming on, man. This was fun for me. Thanks for bookending it well.
Thanks for having me, Mark.